It's November. It's quite a cold week at the moment, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to come out into the woods on my lunch break and mess about with the Lavvu, because my intention is, sounds a bit masochistic, but maybe sleep out in it when it's freezing conditions this week. And I'm going to try out my new ammo tin stove that my father-in-law Bob Potter has kindly made for me, so you'll see that in a minute. I know when I put them both together, the tent and the stove, that they're not going to match up to start with, because the legs, I think, on the stove are going to be so long, they're going to make the top of the stove and the flue touch the sides of the canvas Lavvu, so potentially that's a fire risk. So the idea is to set it all up now, work out how much I'm going to have to adapt things. That's the Lavvu very hurriedly put up, so I've suspended it from a whippy bit of hazel above. That neglects the fact that you then have to have the main upright pole in the middle, because when you have it in the middle there's less space, because you've got to kind of work your way around or lie down and sit around the center pole. So if you take that out, it gives you more room. This is only the second time I've put it up, so I still need to work out a way of really kind of tightening that top knot and getting the sides down a bit straighter. The other option was to use my fishing tripod, so that way there isn't a center pole, but there'd be 3 poles inside which then push it out from the inside. Might try that at some point, but not today. You can just see the armholes here. There's 1 and 2, and that's what you put your stovepipe through. So let's give that a go. Right, so here we have the stove that Bob Potter, my father-in-law, kindly made for me. Following the instructions on YouTube by Simon, a bloke in the woods. It's gone slightly different, and a few moderations or alterations to that design. Not quite sure why, but we'll have a look. So yeah, this is what it looks like. So this is a manifold, or part of an exhaust of a car that you attach to the top plate. He's converted the front to a door, so it's got a latch here which closes down. You can vary the air intake on the front. This is probably seized because I sprayed it with oh, it has. I need both hands to open that in a minute. I spray painted it the other day, so it's probably just caught a bit there. I'll give that a bit of a whack in a minute. Inside of the pipes, the flue, all conveniently stored away, and it is heavy. You need a kind of canvas bag or a different rucksack to carry it all to the woods in, but this isn't designed for you know, long-term hikes. This is kind of park up somewhere and walk in and do it that way, where you don't mind the weight. Right, if I open this up, here we go. So inside we've got the legs. There should be 4 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we've got the sections of flue. So 6 sections of flue, and then right at the very bottom is the plate. You can turn it upside down, put it back in, and then the fire will sit on there, and it's lifted off the bottom because you've got the these kind of legs underneath. And instead of using the stainless steel ones there, I'm going to use the nut and bolt, because you can screw that lower or higher depending on how well the fire's going or what you're burning maybe. So we're going to put that in there. Also at the back he's made this little thing here where you can lift off this flap to reveal 3 other holes underneath. So if for some reason it's not drawing enough, you can open the back up as well. So that's it. Let's put it back together and get it going. There you go, it's all set up. So you can see that the height of the stove, sorry, the height of the stove flue should come above the top of the outside of the canvas, so the smoke is drawn away well above the actual tent. what I should have on the top of that is a spark arrestor, and I'm going to make one out of an old bird feeder. So the idea with that is the sparks go all the way to the top and then hit something, a kind of mesh, and then sort of stay, sort of deaden and don't fly off and then create a forest fire anywhere. The other couple of little things I forgot to show you is the I have managed to free that now. There you go, you can see it does twist around. It was just the paint that was stopping that. Also on the flue pipe there's a damper inside. If I take that off, so that's going to be handy in reducing the amount of heat going up the pipe, so I can regulate the heat. The only thing that Bob doesn't seem to have incorporated from Simon, a Bloke in the Woods design, is inside here he put a plate so that the heat kind of goes through, bounces off the plate before it then leaves via the flue. So I don't know what difference that's going to make, although I'm just going to lose all the heat out the top without the benefit of the heat going through that, because obviously what I want to do is put a pan or a kettle on that and use the residual heat in the top of the stove to cook from. I don't want it all to go out the flue, so I might have to put some rivets in to put another plate in at a later date. Right, so I'm going to now put it inside the tent and collect some firewood and try and light it up. As you can see, I've lit the stove. Seems to be doing all right. It's quite tricky to load up to start with. Quite a small opening, and it burns through fairly quickly, so you've got to keep loading it up. Obviously in an ideal world I'd have a fire, because the ground's damp I can get away with the odd thing falling out here, but really you need some sort of fireproof blanket or certainly bare ground underneath the stove itself. The other thing I didn't mention is I haven't got a stove, I've forgotten the name of it, stove jack. I definitely need to get myself a stove jack. The way that you use sticks to keep the opening open is slightly dicey. There's a gap there, so that's fine, and I touch the canvas, it's not hot, but all I've got to do is kick over the tent accidentally and the canvas could touch it. So I need to make myself a stove jack, so you can either use a fire retardant material, make a hole in it and then attach that to the tent and then the flue goes through it, or some people improvise with a kind of utensils. After you've done the washing up, you put your utensils in it, a drainer, a cylinder, and hopefully that will incorporate a larger slotted circumference around it, just to diffuse some of that heat away from the fabric. So that's the next thing I need to do. Certainly working all right though. You can really feel the heat when you get in there. Admittedly this is a size 1 Lavvu, so it's the smallest one you can get. Having a stove like that inside something like this is probably a bit overpowering, and whether you'd be able to sleep in there even in freezing temperatures I don't really know. We'll have to try that at some point. But yeah, it's kicking off a lot of heat. It takes a little while to learn how to load it properly, but I think I've got the hang of that now. And obviously you're restricted with the size of sticks you can put in there. You can't put some real whoppers in there, otherwise they're not going to kind of burn effectively, so sort of thumb size or slightly bigger. But yeah, seeing as this is the trial, the first burn, I haven't prepared that many logs, but you can see that once that door's closed, obviously there's smoke coming in here now, but once I've closed that door, hopefully it won't. The other thing is I've bought myself a carbon monoxide detector. I haven't got it with me now because I'm not planning to be actually in the tent, but obviously if you were doing that overnight you'd want one of those for peace of mind. Right, I'm going to put on half a litre of water on top of the stove and see how long that takes to cook. Probably find that it actually sticks to the top of the stove because the paint's still fresh, and maybe I should have waited a bit longer, but let's see. Right, I think I'm being a bit impatient. I've tried my cup on the top, it's a bit tacky. So it's half a litre of water in that Crusader mug. I've closed the front door I think I'll just open this up a fraction more. That's it. And I've closed the damper a bit in the pipe behind. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on my watch, see how long this takes to boil. Right, it's had about 15 minutes now, and it's starting to steam at the top, so let's give it a go. Oh. Yeah, it's not boiling, but that's hot when I put my finger in, so I'm going to take that off now. So yeah, it's with metal on metal, obviously it'll take longer for the water to boil, and the fact that I haven't got a cover on that. If I covered it up, then that would have sped up the boiling process, so I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, all in all, it's been a success. Moment of truth. That's definitely hot chocolate. Thanks again, Bob, for the stove.